Aquí no. Good evening, welcome. We will begin now the press conference. Please remember we do one question per intervention and you also have to identify yourself with the name of the company that you represent. Comenzamos la rueda de prensa, hacemos una pregunta por intervención y antes de identificarse con su nombre y medio.
Hola Rodrigo, Victorio Calero en directo para Real Madrid Televisión. Mañana por cuarto.
Tomorrow, for the fourth consecutive season, Manchester City and Real Madrid face each other in a knockout tie in the Champions League. You know exactly the commitment that you need to have and how difficult is this game, and how do you see the game tomorrow? Well, it's the same difficulty as always when you play against them. And first and foremost, we play the first game here, so there's lots of pressure on our players. We know it's going to be difficult as always, but I think we need to have the mentality that we had last season. That will be key to getting a good result here. Hi, Rodrygo. You mentioned last season's game. Madrid managed to go through, but they had to suffer a lot. They had very little ball. They had to run a lot. Are you ready for a game to be repeated in that same way against City? Are there options to dominate the possession and have more of the ball? I don't think it was just us. I think all of the teams who come here to play, they suffer because of the characteristics and the quality of their team. They always have a bit more of the goal. That could happen tomorrow. But also, given our quality, we can have a little bit more of the ball. We always try to do what the manager tells us to do in terms of attacking and defending, and I'm ready for whatever comes. The manager said that after the derby in the press conference, he spoke to the four attacking players to have more commitment, to have more solidarity together in terms of a collective commitment. Do you believe that the four that play up front, if you work as a team, it's more easy for the team to win? Yes, of course, the manager spoke to us, and we've seen the importance that we have in terms of the team to be able to make the difference. So I think if those playing behind us see that we're running well, we're defending well, I think that's contagious. So he spoke to us, and in the second half I think we were much better in that derby game. And I hope and I believe that that's the key for us to play the remainder of the season. You've had really important days at Real Madrid as a player, against Espanyol in the league, when you scored 2, and then you scored a hat-trick in the Champions League against Galatasaray, and also the brace you got in the Cup as well, and also when you scored those 2 goals against City in the great comeback. What has been the most important day that you can remember? And I think as kind of musicians, do you think like musicians that you're still to compose your best song, and that could be tomorrow? Well, I was speaking maybe a couple of days, I was speaking to Federico Valverde, and we were watching that game again when I scored those 2 goals. And I asked him if we'll ever go and have an emotion like that in our lives. It'll be very difficult, because what happened in that game, without doubt, was the most special night of my career. I don't know if it will happen again. I hope so. Even better nights. But definitely that was the best moment in my career. You just thought about the game that you played against City when you scored 2, and also in the European Cup, in the Champions League final. But perhaps you were the most informed player in the last few weeks. How much blame does Ancelotti have for what the team are going through in terms of how well you're playing? How important is he for you? Yes, he always talks to me and asks me. I always say the same. It's a pleasure working alongside him because he helps me always. He always tries to do something to make me better so that I can help the team. And we work together all the time. I always work to try and get my best version on the field. I don't stop working because that's the secret. And of course, the manager's helped me a great deal in that respect. This year, and during the last few months, you come to a stadium like Manchester City. We know that many teams are interested in you. How important is this game for you, and how do you manage all these offers from Saudi Arabia, etc., in terms of how you're playing in your best moments at Real Madrid? In terms of offers, I don't really know too much about them. I think that's more about my father, who's my agent, and the club, if they know anything about it. I don't know. I'm very grateful that there's interest from other clubs in me, but I'm really happy here, as I always say, and I've been here for a long time. And tomorrow is another game. It's a special game, as always. I always say to play with this shirt on your back in Champions League is very special, and I think tomorrow will be no different. I can't remember exactly what game it was, but I know once you played here on the left, I don't know if, have you thought about a different plan? Has the manager thought about a different plan to play in a different part of the pitch with regard to how you played recently? That was last season. I think it was the best thing that we could do in that game at that moment. Now is a different moment, another story. It's the different team we're facing. That's more of a question for the manager, and he will give you a better answer. Hi, Rodrygo. In the last few games, we've seen you playing more on the left because of the absences of Vinicius, etc. You've scored many goals. You've provided many assists. What difference is there when you play on the left? And how can you convince him to put you on that left-hand side? I just have to continue doing my work, whether that's on the left or the right-hand side of the pitch. We know that when I was a kid, I always played on the left. So it's normal for things to come out a bit better when I play on that side. But I also enjoy playing on the left because I can help the team. And as you've asked, I don't have to do anything. I just have to keep doing my work, continue helping the team. And the manager knows very well where he needs to put me. 7 goals, 4 assists in the last as many games. It's almost impossible when you're playing to have those stats when you're playing along Mbappe and Vini. I'm really happy. My manager's a great manager in terms of footballing history. It's very difficult to play against teams that Pep Guardiola manages. And we hope things go well for Real Madrid tomorrow. Last 2 questions.
BeanymanSports Brasil. Tú eres algo como un carrasco del City.
You're a bad luck charm for Manchester City because you've been a decisive player when you played in the tie against City last time. I don't know if you feel that you can be decisive against this team. And how do you feel right now, seeing that the game is only 24 hours away? Do I respond in Portuguese or Spanish? Well, to be honest, it's an opponent. I've scored a number of goals against them recently, and I'm happy. I've had happy moments against them. I've had not so happy moments against them. It's difficult to play against them. Now we're in a good moment, and I feel like I'm in a good moment and I can be decisive. But I try to be decisive in every game, not just against Manchester City, because the competition is not just against them. There are many difficult games that you face. And to be facing one of the best teams in the world, of course, I need to be decisive in every game. I'd like to ask you about the fact that you're a bad luck charm for Manchester City. Is it an opponent that you like to play against most, given all the success you've had in recent years, always scoring goals and participating in games? No, it's not what I most like. It's not the team I like playing against the most, because the way that they play makes it very difficult for you. So I don't think anybody likes to play against them. I think they don't necessarily like to play against us. But it's true that I've been happy playing against them, and I hope I'm happy tomorrow, even more happy when I play against them tomorrow.